How you doing? It's okay. What were you working on today?
Today was finishing up the game plan, going over a few things that we wanted to make sure that we exposed the guys to before we went away for break, and then just trying to really tighten some things up from the standpoint of the game plan. So I thought the guys had great focus. Obviously with a little bit of weather coming through today, some guys will be staying in Evanston for another night, but that's okay.
So the game plan's in.
That's it.
And do you like where it's at?
Yeah, I liked how we tweaked some things as it's gone along, as we've kind of came up with our preliminary plan and then went out and tried to expose our guys to what we thought would work. Kind of punched some holes in it. I think we kind of tightened some things up. We'll take a look at a few things here tonight before we duck out of here as coaches and then go back through our typical game week when we get down there. We'll travel and it would be the equivalent of a Monday of game week. Do a little bit in the hotel and nothing on the field when we get down there. And then our first practice will be a Tuesday type practice situationally. So, go through our normal game week.
For some of these freshmen, it's their first bowl game, and watching growing up as a kid, these New Year's Day games. I mean, what kind of excitement have you seen from some of these guys for their first experience?
Well, number one, Chris, I hope they get home safe and sound and take your time, especially with some weather going through. Number two, not be a jackass when they're home, being around their slappy friends for the first time since they've gone away to college, and be mature. Number three, act the right way down at the bowl site. It's critical that they practice the right way. And take it all in and get excited about it and be excited and energetic on the boundary during the game. And, just do what they do like we do for a typical home game. For a road game, not all of them get to go. But, bowl game's kind of like a home game for them. It's in a different location.
With this first week of practice gone by, Coach, have you seen any players step up with the added responsibility that comes with preparing for this playoff game?
I think when I look at the way the whole group is just kind of matured. I mean, we've gone, I think, from being a young team to a team now that's much more mature, much more, I think, understanding how to handle their business, especially with the older guys that have been to so many bowl games. We do a lot of fun things at night, but when it's time to get in the meetings, it's time to get your treatment, get in the weight room, do your film study. That group is really organized things well, and we haven't, as always, we're not going to grind them up. I mean, it's a reward. We've had fun, and now it's time to get home and enjoy their families, and then get ready to go. But I wouldn't want to single anybody out.
Explain to the line why making bowl games important to development of young people also practices you guys.
Yeah. You look at 7 other practices really were developmental meetings, so that's half of a spring practice. So, you get that. I mean, that's huge, especially in our game with the NCAA rules. I mean, we don't get, between basically the end of the game and spring practice, we don't get to have a football in anything that we do. So for Zach and the young receivers and our DBs to be able to go do one-on-ones and be coached on the technique and the fundamental, and our D-line and O-line being able to be in pads again for 7 more practices. I mean, it's critically important. And then, you want to stay healthy, and we have. And we got a lot of work done, a lot of reps. I mean, probably for those young guys, 300-plus reps, of good work. And that's...
We're talking about the redshirt freshmen.
Yeah, and then the younger players that maybe are... the red-shirted, and then maybe some of the guys are maybe in their third year that are close, more kick game guys. So, yeah, it's huge for those 3 classes.
Did anybody jump out that you saw this year?
Yeah, I really like the group as a whole. I like that whole line a lot. I think that group has got a bright future ahead of them. A young man on the defensive line that's jumped out to me is C.J. Robbins. I like the improvement that he's made coming off of injury. Still not quite there yet, but I think the future is very bright for him. In a linebacking group, Jalen Prater to me has been really solid throughout. And in the secondary, Terrence Brown and Dwight White, I thought had really good bowl prep along with Mike McHugh. Buck and receiver Buck and Miller Jones in the backfield. So I'm missing a few guys, but I think the whole group is solid. I think we got what we thought we would get recruited.
Do you want the players to use the bowl ground as motivation, or do you want it to just be in the past?
We don't. I mean, internally, we don't really talk about it. I think the seniors are highly motivated to be that group to get the first win and then be the catalyst to, kind of back like when I was playing, be the first team to get to a bowl, and now look what's happened. So, I think the seniors are highly motivated for that. Shoot, the freshmen are happy to get bowl gifts. So you got a wide spectrum. But yeah, the guys are excited. We're playing a very good team. And give them first.
Kate seemed like you didn't want it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fun a year ago, and you guys know me, I'm not a big T-shirt. Grab a quote. I mean, crap doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work. So, we just had some fun last year, and I had to find something for Nico Mafuli to do.
Yeah.
So I gave him the monkey, and he did a good job. But no, it's fun. It's bowl season. Kicks off tonight, really. And our guys will hopefully get home safe and sound and enjoy the week with their family.
Over the year, we've heard from you and from players how the chemistry of this team is different from last year. How things are different from last year.
Yeah.
Just talking to Kate, he thought this was a much more confident team than last year's team. That no one is beating them. They just let a couple slip away. You see that?
Absolutely.
Their confidence.
Yeah, there's no question. And I like the quietness about it, like the humility about it. But we step on the white lines, think pretty good. We work that way, though. I mean, you've been out to every practice. I mean, this group has worked every day. And I think they've played their tails off in every game. I haven't walked into the locker room in any game and been like, we left some out there. So I think this group, especially the seniors, and then kind of going back for the guys who are a little bit older, they've learned a lot. They've had great leaders before them. They've seen some areas where maybe we haven't gotten it done, and they've kind of filled in those gaps through experiences. I think they've done a terrific job of leading the younger players. So, I mean, all those things are very encouraging for right now in the micro, but I think even more so for the big picture. Yeah, I mean, that legacy that I think they're going to leave is something that's really, really strong and really exciting. But still, at the end of the day, there's a lot of work that still goes into this one. We got to make great choices while we're at home, and I know our guys will. But and then when we get down to the bowl site, we're going to work in the morning, and then we get great events planned for the guys in the mid-afternoon, and then get off their feet and get ready to play.
When you talk about how it's important for the future, you're talking about the importance of building a program rather than just building a team.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and you and I have been around each other now for a while doing this with in my role, and I told you back year one that we're not looking for just this year. This is a long-term approach. And in college football now, that's getting increasingly more difficult. I mean, you see so many coaches that, a few more dollars are thrown at them, and all of a sudden they jump ship. Well, that's not what we're doing here. Same thing with our assistant coaches. Our support from the administration has been phenomenal. We're very thankful for that. But, we've got kind of the three goals that we have. We have two in place. Obviously, we've got the academic component in place, being number one in the country. We believe we're number one in developing young men, preparing them for life when they're done with football. And I think we're knocking on the door to be champions. And our first chance to be champions is this game. And that's a huge catalyst, I think, for that confidence that you talked about to take that next step as a program and finish up a recruiting class that we feel very strongly about on paper, and then kind of keep the steps going. So I feel very encouraged with where the program is at.
Could you talk a little about the development of the offensive line? We had so many moving parts, coming into the season with Patrick moving over on your right side, and now, you have Denrick as one of the best running backs in the country, led by that line. How they've made that transition.
Well, I mean, I think number one, Adam's done a terrific job with that group, and we've worked hard fundamentally to improve and get better. We've got great communication. Brandon, although Brandon may only be a second-year starter, he's got a wealth of experience. And, I think being able to be the conduit and the glue to keep both sides of the line together has been critically important. And then a development of the right side with Neil, in my opinion, who's been, our MVP up there. We needed to have someone take over that right guard position, and he won the job, and he's run with it. And then, Jack to move it to a position he's never played before. So, obviously everybody talks about the left side, and they should, but, I think that from Brandon through Neil to Jack, those three guys have played really well.
Did that impress you with Jack, how quickly he developed, moving over from thumb super back? I know we talked about his athletic ability.
Yeah. Well, I think a year ago, Jack really impressed me with coming in here as a true freshman to watch the way he played. And he's embraced the big man role. He likes being in a size 50 gene or whatever he's in. I mean, he's embraced being elite, whatever he wants, but he's done it the right way, working with Al Johnson and Jay Hooten and our sports performance staff, and he's lean, he's really athletic, and just continuing to work hard in his strength. And those things, the sky's the limit for him.
Coach, going back to what you had said about coaches leaving for the extra dollar, does that put you guys, and in the long term, does it put you guys as an advantage as far as recruiting goes and that whole thing?
Well, I think from a recruiting standpoint, if I'm a parent like I am, I'm looking for stability. I'm looking for a staff that's going to be there, to help my young man grow and my son grow, and someone I know I can build some trust and rapport with. And I think our track record speaks for itself.